Live, ladies and gentlemen, we are live once again. How's everybody doing on this holiday weekend, a long July 4th? Today is Friday, July 3rd, 2026, and we're glad to have everybody aboard. And by the way, let's not forget to wake the kids, phone the neighbors, and let's get some kind of code to all those ships at sea so they can tune in on what's going on with the Abby Kaufman Show here on Democracy Radio Network. And we were just having a little nautical drill here. So anyway, you caught me at my secret undisclosed location on Newport Harbor, Newport Beach, California. And like I said, I want to wish everybody a happy July 4th. I I hope everyone's able to kick back for a little bit, uh, drink an adult beverage or two, and just take as take as much opportunity as you can to just unwind, get away from it, have a decent day, have a fun weekend. The political garbage in Washington will still be there Monday, so let's see if we can't make it through this holiday weekend with some sort of goal to have at least a little bit of fun. I mean, while everything is kind of burning around us, we can still take a step back and have an adult beverage, a drinky winky or two, and see how that really clears your mind for the upcoming show. So, like I say, it's Friday, July 3rd, and would you believe that as I was debating subjects for today's chat, I had I debated what to do because it is a holiday weekend and all that. And as I looked at the New York Times this morning, I could not let it go. I'm so this is outrageous. And you guys know what I think of the Times. If there's a better newspaper, more accurate newspaper, I certainly don't know what it is. And I'd like for you to tell me. I'm fond of the Financial Times. I mean, there's some really great papers out there, but the Times is distinctly different. I think they have writers in like 140 something countries around the world, and their reporters are great. They fact check, and I'm going to tell you something. Without them, how would we really have any idea what's going on in the White House? Criminals. This is kind of a strange criminal situation. You have criminals just operating out in the open, I guess, under the spread wings and whatever protection that the orange tinged subhuman creature is that's currently inhabiting the White House. But don't forget, guys, after November, after the and I'm going to tell you what I made up the other day. I shared this with a few people, so I'll do it for you guys too. We'll beat them so badly they'll be screaming for mommy. They were expecting a blue wave, but they got a blue tsunami. So that's what needs to be done, guys. A blue tsunami to make this election just beyond reproach. Even though Trump's such a weasel that it's pretty hard to get anything beyond reproach with that guy's involved. But let's kind of operate as though he were let's act as if he was the center of the dartboard, and we are all aiming for that big fat bullseye, right? And you gotta. I was in D.C. in the '80s, I think, and it was during the Iran hostage crisis, and there was this really enterprising guy who had a thing where he had a dartboard, and he had a picture of Ayatollah Khomeini on it, and the product was sold as the stick a hole in the Ayatollah. Oh, I mean, how cool was that? Stick a hole in the Ayatollah. So we'll have to see what we can do for the president. Make a dent in the president. No, that's not very good. Guys, you have to help me come up with something, but I'm sure we can. Smash the trash. Uh, that's kind of good, isn't it? Smash the trash, or take the trash out. I don't know. We'll work on it. If you guys have any thoughts, give us a call 949-629-3820. We'd really like to hear what you guys are up to this weekend. Is it going to be a beer and soccer and cookout kind of weekend, or do you have plans to go somewhere, or are you just going to do absolutely nothing? I would hope that even the most jaded American realizes that 250 years for any country, for any entity to exist, is a monumental step. I mean, we don't go back thousands of years like, Germany or France or England or any of those guys. Or how about the Middle East? We don't go back 5,000 years like they do at least. Uh, so, with that in mind, we're going to do the best we can with our limited 250th perspective. But I do think that something's worth kind of visiting before we get started here. And that is at a certain point in time, and we could well be there, citizens of countries develop this sort of apathy where they just kind of accept things as they are, and they're used to their freedoms, and they just kind of act like it's no big deal. And much like the farmer who doesn't miss his water till the well runs dry, it's really easy to miss these civil liberties. Oh, and while it may not be easy for you or me to miss them, it's really easy for us to see them taken away and civil rights not granted to people, to American citizens. I mean, this whole undocumented alien or undocumented person, whatever it is, roundup has just been, what it's been, guys? It's been another example of how Trump operates. He bullies and pushes and sells things that aren't there. And guess what? People buy them, which is how Trump kind of makes money. And we'll get into that. That's a major topic for today. And it's kind of funny to be talking about money on July 3rd, July 4th. I'm just going to call it the fourth weekend. But we are a capitalist country. Individuals have to make money or get paid or something to survive, and hopefully thrive a little bit. Um, but let's kind of dive right on in because I can't think of a better. Well, I'll tell you what. Maybe before we dive right in, let's take a minute to wish. What's her name? Huh? What's her name? I think it could be Taylor Swift. And oops, what's his name? I think that could be Travis Kelsey. Let's wish Travis and Taylor uh, our sincere best for a long and happy marriage. I hope you guys really do live long and prosper and enjoy being married to each other. You guys have a lot to teach others, and I hope you're open to sharing a bit. And maybe you have no reason to do this, but whatever you can do to help make the world a better place, we would certainly be in your debt. God knows we need it. Taylor's had her go arounds with Trump, and she completely gets it. Uh, so, with that in mind, let's like this. Congratulations, Taylor. Congratulations, Travis. And I can't help but think whenever the name Travis comes up, there was a steakhouse out here. I don't know if you have them all over, but it's called the Black Angus. And the Black Angus had this character, cowboy character named Travis. And Travis was like tall and thin and dark jeans and shirt, and just a handsome cowboy. And whenever his name would come up during the commercials, they would always call him Travis. So whenever I think about Travis, I can't help but think about the Black Angus Steakhouse, which is a really strange thing considering I've been a vegetarian for a long time now. However, moving along from these vegetarian thoughts and what other thoughts do I have these days, let's check out what the old New York Times had to say on today. And their headline was Crypto Windfall for Trump, but not for most investors. Uh, Trump and this deal, Trump profits on every sale. He's the broker. He's the clearinghouse, right? So he gets a little bit on either side of the deal, whether you buy or sell. But what happens is after the novelty wears off and the demand for the coin drops, therefore drops the price, guess who's left with bupkis or skadookus? You're right. The individuals get bupkis, or if they paid a lot, they get skadookus. And let's see, the only thing worse than bupkis is skadookus. And I have my friend Bobby Howe to thank for that. Um, so imagine being like the New York Stock Exchange plugging a particular thing, having people rush out and buy it, and then make money on each transaction. That's exactly what he did with World Liberty Financial. And, I said thousands lost money in this. But how could Trump lose? He makes money either way, the buy or the sell. And then to make matters worse, I'll go into this a little bit later, he'll go ahead and plug a product directly related to that's being traded publicly. I'll tell you the Nvidia story later on, but he's whenever Trump says, I swear the most dangerous place in America or the world really is between Donald Trump and a dollar. I mean, he made what, $1.8 billion last year. And yeah, I'm gonna be a sport. Let's round it up to 2 billion. Just what's an extra 200 million among friends, right? And I guess if you have millions, you can dispose of that kind of money with gifts. Uh, but anyway, uh, Trump said something like, so in 2025, even though Trump media is in the tank, and even though World Liberty Financial is uh, the break the broker, the clearinghouse, so investors lost every time. Like I said, when the profits were made, guess who got a little piece of it on in either side? And plus, there were the hundreds of millions of dollars that he made through deals with foreign governments or corporations with pending matters before the Trump administration. And I'm sure you'd be shocked to hear how that turns out. And then it says, there was a column I thought was really cool, at least a headline, and it was, what was it? Trump fireworks show as a toxic extravaganza. And I was thinking about this, and this is going to be, if they do use 35,000 whatever fireworks, excuse me, it's going to be like 40% bigger than anything known to man. And I mean, I get it, and it's really nice if you have a little bit of breeze to, excuse me, to divert that kind of garbage. But I'm betting that in DC, after a 107-degree day, I'm going to bet that there's not a whole lot of breeze blowing at night. And if there's not a lot of breeze blowing at night, the fireworks, smoke, or particles, or whatever it is, since they can't go left or right, they go down. They can't go up, they go down. And what do they go down on? Whoever spectated on the mall. And what could go wrong, right? Can you see the ambulances just, or the people just hacking up blood eventually? I mean, how this is going to be spun into a positive, I'd really like to know. But then again, I'm still waiting for the guy to have an Oval Office chat to explain the the victorious Iran war that everyone else seems to refer to as a huge loss. I mean, everybody else in the world acknowledges that Iran beat us, and they did. They beat us. I mean, they took our best shot, and they're still standing. Uh, and Trump, on the other hand, he gets a little anxious, and he cuts a deal to get out. But he doesn't cut a deal to get out. He can't dictate the terms in this deal. He wants something, and the Iranians have it. What's he gonna do to get it? And he'll bluster and he'll do this and the other. But at the end of the day, the Iranians have him by the short, curly, what, and the world knows it. So let's kind of look at this crypto stuff a little more. It's a hell of a business model, isn't it? And in fairly recent times, deal makers have learned to make deals that only benefit the deal maker or the parties involved. It rarely benefits the individual investor. And these sorts of transactions where people invest in a buy sell thing, and you know what happens when they get a little caught a little short, right? Okay, so with the crypto stuff, it's and this is supposedly Barron's doing, and I swear Trump just has a thing for money. And I'm sure after Barron explained it to him, and the concept came across that it was like money for nothing because what is a crypto, right? I mean, do you see it? Do you touch it? No, it's just a book entry, and the book entry is liable to go up, and the book entry is liable to go down. But Trump sold them on through his exchange, so he made money on the sale, and every time a subsequent buyer buys from them, he makes that little commish. Somebody wants to get out, they sell their 100 shares, 1,000 shares. Trump gets the commish. And before you know it, you've kind of raked in $1 billion. And I don't know about you guys, but it might have been an okay year, but it wasn't that much of an okay year. Not for me. I mean, to go from Bupkis or Skadookus on up to a couple of $1 billion. That doesn't happen absent some criminality. Well, it takes either extremely good fortune or criminality, and Trump may be the recipient of both. As much as I hate to say that. Okay, so you got the World Liberty Financial thing, buys and sells the platform. So guess what? Guess what happens with that? Well, what if the UAE said something like, "Oh, Donald, this is kind of away from any government to government doings, but we kind of like that World Liberty Financial, and we like to buy half of it from you. So why don't you let us give you $500 million, and you give us half of this exchange that's kind of worthless?" So Trump says, "Okay, right." So what happens now is the UAE just transferred a $500 million to Donald Trump. $500 million. And don't forget what they did for Jared Kushner last time. The Saudis gave him like a $2 billion going away present. They offered to fund his Affinity Partners deal for $2 billion. And I would submit just having access to that kind of money is enough. You probably would never need to touch it just from the interest on that kind of thing. But these people are different. Um, so they get the and guess what happens later? After the Emirates are so keen to buy uh, half of Trump's World Liberty Financial for $500 million, that I guess Donald must have felt a little indebted to those guys. I mean, they gave him $500 million, right? So, geez, you could have knocked everybody over with a feather. When about 4 months later, Trump sells valuable computer chips to to the UAE for AI use. And guess what, guys? They weren't going to get them. They weren't supposed to get them. And then what happens? Well, I can see the old press jumping up now and says, "Well, let me tell you what we're going to do here. You're going to buy half my company for $500 million, and you've got the routing numbers and all that. And in exchange for that, giving you the money. How about if you sell us some of these chips, or how if you arrange for us to buy some of these chips that we really want, but they've been, kind of forbidden to us." And of course, no problem. Trump hadn't met a dollar he didn't like, so of course that's not a problem. Uh, but think about that. A foreign government just gave our guy, or whoever's guy, $500 million, and just magically, I mean, uh, 4 months later, what's that? Uh, a little more than a quarter. 4 months later, they get the okay to buy the NVIDIA AI chips. What are the odds, huh? Now, I'm going to tell you, you can argue that's just a huge coincidence. And, to think that's a coincidence is about the same as thinking that Stormy Daniels named Donald Trump's underwear color just by sheer luck. Those kind of things just don't happen. She saw them and we saw this. And listen, the wild thing is there's no super attempt to keep it public. I don't know if he's thinking he's got immunity for everything or what the deal is, but this is just insane. And again, you can't call insanity unexpected when you have a lunatic. So, that's what I'm going to do for the weekend. I'm going to aim for a lunatic free weekend. I'm going to see how many Republicans I don't have to talk to. Because you know what happens if I do? Yeah, I thought you knew. I go into my, delusional dumbass uh, sermon, and nobody enjoys it more than me. So I need to, probably use a little more judgment when we do that. But let's kind of look a little deeper here. So how about the old? Oh, and I think that somehow was like 263 mil, whatever Trump got out of the deal. It was several $100 million. I didn't say several $100. I didn't say several $1,000. Right? I said several $1 million. Like, how about in the hundreds of millions? Would you believe me? Oh, yes, I knew you would. So the next kind of crypto scam grift is the Trump meme coin. And this is launched 3 days before the inauguration, for his inauguration. And guess what? Supporters and crypto executives were all in DC for a little get together called the Crypto Ball. And would you believe, and I know you would, 2 months later, 8 weeks, a mere 2 months later, the SEC said, and this is in excuse me, quotation marks, novelty digital assets are not subject to regulatory oversight because they're not considered securities. And does that just mean you can buy, sell, lie, cheat, and steal? Well, pretty much. And yeah, and that's Trump's game plan. Lie, cheat, and steal, right? Kind of swindle and finagle, if you're a German. But he's just a piece of work. So yeah, how about that? 2 months later, uh, lo and behold, crypto can't be regulated after just after uh, Trump gets his supporters to foot the old crypto bill. Okay, let's go on. How about these stable coins? Tell me that's not a marketing name. And this is a 2025 World Liberty Financial launch. And would you believe 2 months later, a mere 2 months later, somebody from the UAE transferred $2 billion into this new coin, right? And as of July 20th, 25, Trump signs legislation promoting stable coins. Now, I must admit, that sounds pretty much like a textbook conflict of interest. And, but the bigger deal this shows is how completely inept and ineffective the Republicans have been in dealing with them. I mean, I sincerely hope we hold a few Supreme Court seats back from the next, if there is ever a Republican president. Just to remind him about Mitch McConnell and his help with the Merrick Garland seat. Uh, Make a long story even longer. Barack Obama wants to appoint Merrick Garland to the Supreme Court, and he's president. He can still do this. And what does Mitch McConnell do? Well, under the Constitution, he has to advise the president and to consent to what the president does. And from what I understand, it's a little difficult back then. And like I said, they put a new smog thing on there, and I really haven't driven or ridden it much very much since. But this is a small year for me. And we've been driving a little more because the check engine light is on and you can't get an extension until you fail the smog test. But with my check engine light on, nobody will test it. So it looks like one of those you can't get there from here. We'll keep you posted and all that, but yeah, just keep an open mind and hope things go well for me. Okay, so that was the meme coin. Oh, and that was stable coin we got into. 2 months later, $2 billion. That's pretty coincidental, huh? And of course, in the old real estate game in the Middle East between Qatar and Saudi Arabia, Trump managed to scrape around, I don't know, 37 mil. Or how about in Vietnam, where they want to fast track his golf course? A couple million people. Uh, and I said Trump buys $5 million worth of Nvidia, and 1 week later, Trump okays the sale of those chips. Yeah, it's just bad. And even one bad, it will look bad in a time when nobody can really afford to look bad. Uh, so guys, you're gonna have to change the deal because we can't keep going on like this. In case you haven't noticed, the guy really is a lunatic. His economic and political policies are just distorted. Uh, you know, well, it's enough to make you exasperated. But after this will give us a really big chance because we can knock out Rubio and we can take out any given Republican just on the basis of credibility and honesty. So, guys, all I can say is that if you want to go to these things, fine. If you want to patronize McDonald's, fine. But what I would ask you to do is please pay attention to things. And when you can join the network and get a little Wi Fi going, do it. I mean, the worst thing that can happen is you listen to me, right? And we all know what a thrill that can be. So you got to, yeah, it could be fun. And we certainly hope it is. Uh, Guys, I have no idea why my throat's going a little early today, but we have we have some star buckaroos with the official Democracy Radio Network decal on it, or sticker rather. And we're gonna take a little sip of this old coffee, see if we can't calm that throat down. Keep going for that other half. Hold on. So, guys, but if you're up to it, give us a call at 949-629-3820. And we'd really like to hear what July 4th means to you. And I'm going to share this here. I've got some friends from Boston, and they always do the Tea Party recreations and all that. And I'm from Charleston, South Carolina. We clearly know history. Uh, and it's always so funny to have Trump lie about history when we know it. Uh, you can see it when someone doesn't read. That's just damning. What that means is they do not consume information in a mentally stimulating way. They may watch TV or tweet in the middle of the night, but that's just distorted human stuff. That's doesn't go to the levels these guys go to. And let's see what else we got. Oh, but on those Nvidia chips, uh, just typical of what Trump does. Let's see the stable coin deal. Oh, and how about and 2 months later, after the UAE gets $2 billion to the new coin, Trump signs legislation promoting stable coins. What are the odds? You give him a few mil and he gives you an endorsement? I I don't know what's wrong with that model. It seems to be the one that's been working really well for a long time for those guys. Uh, And like I said, you gotta take a deep breath. You have to realize the criminality here, and you've got to remember that under our Constitution, we have to wait the 4 years to throw them out or to vote them out. And in some ways, I think that's the most effective term limits is the right to vote. I mean, if anything, I think under our Constitution, it's a little too hard to recall people. But sometimes when you need someone out, you just really need them out. I mean, the longer Trump sits in that office, the more contaminated it's going to be. It's not like he has seen the light and was risen with genius or anything. Sorry, with Jesus. All those guys, kind of confuse me. Jesus, genius, they all look like. Uh, so that's where we are with these guys. They're getting ready to perpetrate one of the most massive fraud uh, productions, I guess, that's ever been heard of relative to like individual people. And the best place is, a party on July 4th. What fireworks? What fireworks? As the guy slowly escapes into the back. And by the way, my friend Jimmy Howe's uncle led the local campaign for Bobby Kennedy way back when was that 1968 ish. So my friends are awfully well connected, and when they tell me what's going on in the Hill or on the White House, they pretty much know exactly. I mean, these guys are so plugged in that they got word from the Catholic Church about a child being born before the Navy could, and this is during, I guess, World War II. So, so they're extremely well connected. But let's kind of dig into a little more of this Trump stuff. Okay, so we've covered like the stable coin stuff and the legislation and the crypto and you know, the deals and the. But now let's go to what Trump and don't anybody ever tell me let's do what Trump does best and look at real estate, because if you were to look at a list of Trump bungles, you would see the guy's got absolutely no business acumen at all. Sometimes it's just that he can generate fear, or it's the luck of the draw, in which Trump may just weight the wheel a little bit so that it's, you know, a little bit more than half on his side, but it doesn't go all the way over. So it at least gives the illusion of propriety. And just so you know, that's probably the only type of propriety Trump will ever have is the illusory kind. When you go to great lengths to alienate our friends and our allies, and they may not come back. I certainly wouldn't blame some of them. In a way, I think it's our unity is bigger than all of us. It's certainly bigger than any one of us. Uh, and greed is just it's one of the original sins. And now, what was meant with the "thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife" or something? That means if it's somebody else's, you can't. It's just hands off. It's theirs. We don't steal, we don't lie, we don't cheat. Oops, sorry, Dom. Not you. Go ahead. You can keep lying, cheating, stealing. It's kind of what you do. I just don't want anybody else to come try and do it nearly as well as you do it. Uh, oh, I swear you can make me laugh. So, hey, what do you guys think is going to happen on the mall tonight? Is it going to be super hot? Probably. Is it going to be super still? Probably. Is it going to be a shitload of stuff? Oh, sorry, a boatload of stuff in the air? I think you can bet that old behind on that. So in a way, I just can't wait to see this stuff. Between I guess we'll have to wait 24 hours. But a flyover at Mount Rushmore, I know it have to be like 8 o'clock or so local time, 9 o'clock local time. And what are the odds of a spark or something catching fire, or people just dropping like flies because of the pollution in the air? I mean, sometimes I really don't understand. I don't see where there's any pleasure to be gained in being like that. Yeah, I mean, after a while, don't we just kind of want to clean up and have a decent meal? But that's okay because under Trump, that'll be another luxury that was, what was that, Margaret Mitchell Buck? Gone with the Wind? It's a shame she was so right, but she was. And what else? I can tell you, as I'm here on the in our secret location on Newport Harbor, I'm reminded that one of these sailing instructors here it has like 5 kids, and I thank God I remember to ask about them. But the reason I want to bring up the OCC Sailing Center, it is an absolute great facility, particularly for kids. You know, after that, they have like father son sales, and you know, if you need a little help, let us help you. And it's just a real brotherhood thing. And you know, my friend's uncle used to say something like, "I may not be my brother's keeper, but I am my brother's brother," which implies at least some sort of interdependence, if not downright, adoptability. I think that's always a little awkward when you adopt, particularly from foreign countries, because you just never know the background of the people. And the truth of the matter is, it does determine their developmental makeup. So we kind of have every right to know, and yet we don't. And we can only assume that there's one reason, just like there's one reason for all the screw ups in Washington. He may try to slough it off on somebody else, and you know he will. But when you're a weasel, you're just a weasel. There's ain't much to be done. I don't know what else to say. Other than we get a little little scratchy throat here and kind of debating about El Lanzarini. So if anyone's going to give us a call at 949-629-3820, and if you got a good lunch place suggested, I wouldn't mind a little Thai food, a little Indian food, a little something. Let's hear what's out there. I do have to give a little credit to El. I think it's Lalo Mita at 845 17th Street West in that little Vista Shopping Center. They have shrimp tacos that are to die for, grilled and fried. Or if you just want a plain piece of fish on a little taco bun with God knows what on it. These are the guys. And, I never see anybody leave there hungry. And anyway, just thought I'd pass that along. Uh, so anyway, let's get back to some sort of attempted headline scanning. Okay, here we go. How about this? In the Middle East, between Qatar and Saudi Arabia, there's something like 37 million coming his way, and maybe an additional five for good performance or something. And or that's the Middle East. How about the Far East? How about Vietnam? How do you have any idea what they uh, gave him so he could say that they were speed building these apps? So there's not much to say. And like I said, sometimes one time Trump bought $5 million worth of Nvidia, and 1 week later, Trump okays the sale of the microchips. The guy's just a weasel. I mean, please God, somebody tell me why January 6th. What good you found in that? Because you must have found something really good about the guy for him to go on like this. Of course, I'll go buy another light bulb just because I'm an idiot. But yeah, I just suck. Uh, well, at least you were good enough to tell me about it. So anyway, moving right along. Now, what are we gonna do here for Thanksgiving? Not Thanksgiving, sorry, for the July 4th? Are we gonna watch the what is it? The hot dog eating contest, which just seems so incredibly gross. I can't even think about it without wanting to puke. Ugh, God, baby. Ugh. And so anyway, as we look forward, what kind of salary raise did you guys get? Anybody get, I don't know, 10%, maybe 20%? Did anybody get the grand total of what, almost 5 pounds of peanuts that had already been cracked? Uh, he's just a worthless individual, guys. I cannot keep stressing that enough. And I will go back to the Kamala Harris. And she did say that she would be there with what? Or without what? She said Trump would be there with a retribution list, and I won't. And the vice presidency doesn't either. And, sometimes people just have such hard heads. You just have to beat it into them. And hopefully I didn't cause too much pain, but it was all for the better. Okay, and let's see. The old Financial Times had something that was pretty cool today too. If I can find, oh, you know what? They didn't. The Financial Times did not come by the time I had gotten there to take a look at it, and I can only get the New York Times. So, guys, I'm sorry. That's a major faux pas on my part. Although my granddad would say major faux pas on my part. So I'm just gonna ask your forgiveness and all that, and just go. Let's move to little generalities here, and you guys can tell I'm in my secret undisclosed location on Newport Harbor in Newport Beach, California, and you can probably tell that I have a decent jacket on, and you may wonder why I have a decent jacket on because it's Southern California. And it's supposed to be the land of sun, fun, surf, turf, women, whatever you want, and you can't. Sorry that somebody's going to look in my car. I want to make sure we still have a guitar when I leave here. Uh, and I forgot where I was exactly. Uh, but you see these massive amounts coming to Trump from foreign countries, and then you see him doing something in within a month or two. And doesn't that kind of give some sort of implication to bribery, or on the other side, treason? I mean, is he not trying to intentionally tear the U.S. apart? And I'm sure he's doing it because he's mad at what the U.S. did to him. But things are always unequal when you have the police force involved. Of course, it's more than one on one with the authorities. Uh, but Trump, the fact of the matter is, you just suck. You've gone to acquire all this extra wealth, and you weren't poor before. But now you get to drive down the street in a really nice Range Rover and I must admit to you that really sucks. I mean, if somebody has to spend time on a coast highway, I seriously doubt that, Muffin or Norman is the time. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask everybody to please, please, please take the few days off. Don't do much during the weekend. Try and relax. Try and enjoy. Because come Monday, there's stuff to be done. There's upcoming podcasts. I got asked to do one on the nature of democracy and how to continue the existence of our democracy. And guys, I was thinking about that. That's clearly not going to be easy. I mean, aren't people starting to kind of yawn and take our rights for granted? And if we weren't yawning and taking our rights for granted, Trump wouldn't be able to do what he's done. And let's not forget his enablers in Congress. Yeah, they may come from decent. They may have come from decent families and all that, but they've acted with complete disregard for all that. I mean, they're just recklessly endangering the rest of us when they mention using TSA people for X, Y, and Z. The guy's just a lunatic, and we've got to. You gotta just gotta eliminate the lunatic. This, what do you do? Reason with him? I don't think that would be possible. And that same friend of mine's uncle was a really big time criminal defense attorney, plaintiff's attorney, and all that. And he said something like, I may not be my brother's keeper, but I am my brother's brother. So there's some compassion to be extended. Trump just has no idea what it is or how to do it. And, you know, everybody's been preaching for years about what a psychologically damaged being he is, creature that he is. And, you'll have his niece, Mary Trump, railing about it. You'll have professional psychiatrists who say, based on X, Y, and Z, we believe, one, two, three. And what happens? Trump comes up with another line, another fake something or other, and you move on because that's the new shiny lie. So there are different types of intelligence. We've clearly known about buck sense and common sense and all that, street sense. But there's also this thing called feral sense, and feral means kind of like wild. Like a feral cat is a stray cat or a wild cat. And how do you get the message that this government is, we're in a fight for it. We are in a fight and we need everybody. How do you explain that to this guy? Or I got a better one. Let's say you're from Lincoln. How about Omaha, Nebraska? Lincoln has a connotation. Let's use Omaha, Nebraska. I hope I got the right state there. Uh, so anyway, uh, in God knows where in Oklahoma, Nebraska, you just might have Trump supporters uh, who will follow his July 4th uh, celebrations, observances, whatever. But what you don't have, once you just get away from the 13 colonies, is any sort of direct relation to the revolution. I mean, it was our 13 colonies. I mean, I know in Charleston, I know many people didn't want to secede from England. Lots of people were fine with English help and influence. Of course, they didn't pay a whole lot in taxes, so things didn't mean much to them. But to the people that actually spent money, you know, the message was received. And guys, what I want you to do is I don't want you to get terribly overwhelmed and frustrated because it's far too easy, and that's frankly the game they want. The Republicans want us just to be so fatigued that we do not have the strength to get out of the house and either take the ballot somewhere or vote. Now, I think they are clearly wrong, and they clearly deserve to be proven wrong, which is why I keep mentioning the drum roll, please. I'm not really good with the side effects, but we really need these guys to step up. We need to start joining clubs. I know not everybody's got time, and I know not everybody's got money. But I would submit that being around people, like-minded people that are working towards the same goal, and we're all working toward getting Trump, aren't we? And at this point, I'd like to get them criminally. I'd like to get them civilly. I'd like to get them by the short curlies. I honestly think that George Conway and lawyers of that caliber that are fairly sophisticated have been feeding the Trump stuff into it probably via Anthropic Daily. So they ought to have a pretty good handle on what's going on, what was said. I assume they're leaning on Jamie Raskin to plot the prosecution. But just think about this, guys. What if during the first impeachment of the January 6th, what if that would have gone even worse? What if January 6th had just much more violence and many more police officers killed? They're already denying that, saying it was a peaceful day at the Capitol. And I've watched those videos a few times, and I didn't know that going to the bathroom on Nancy Pelosi's desk. I didn't know that was like a standard visiting option. I mean, I don't think I would have done it, but there are several people that I would have done it with. So guys, let's make sure that Trump takes a huge hike. Let's give him the blue tsunami. Let's whatever you have to do to get people to the polls. Let's get them to the polls. The guy's made what billions of dollars a year, and if you think he's representing you and me, I think you might need to. I think Trump might want to sell you some land in Florida when the tide goes out a little bit because it's pure swamp and pure just garbage. There's just not much else to say. So anyway, we're like I said, broadcasting back in Southern California, getting ready as we can be. Let's do the No Kings marches, and let's just line up in every avenue we have. Join your local Democrat club. It's not if it is super expensive, use the PayPal, pay it for. Do something. Being around like-minded people is hugely important. And it's kind of simplest to say, but just being around other people working for the common goal brings strength. And guys, you don't know how hard these guys are cheating and how hard they're going to fight to hold on. And this is just going to be. I don't think this is going to be a really nice election. You know, I think you have some of the Republicans just fighting for their lives, which essentially is what Trump is doing now, holding the SAVE Act as priority to the housing bill. I mean, every congressman everywhere understands that with housing prices starting at $400,000, or let's round it up to 500. And if a place is $500,000, that means that the person probably needs to come up with $200,000 in cash, so they can finance the other 400 for the 80-20 percentage deal. Guys, there are a whole lot of people that make salaries that can support a mortgage like that. So what happens? And I'm gonna tell you, I'm not really sure, but I know what happens if housing drops a lot across the board. There's going to be a real hellacious bill to pay, because at that point we'll be in a full blown depression. What if somebody does this and takes out the loan, and the house depreciates in I don't know, a month to $400,000 from $500,000? Well, what happens is, or let's go beyond. Let's go a little beyond that. And once you get to that point that people's houses aren't worth the loan value, think about the banks and the lenders across the world. I mean, Germany lends to people here, right? Deutsche Bank. Uh, if you were to walk down the street in New York, you'd see banks from countries you'd never heard of. Uh, but if that happens, and some people want the $500,000 house to depreciate to 250 so they can buy it, but guys, there would be blood on the streets. You have no idea the economic harm that would cause. I'm not always at tank home prices. Think about tax bases and revenues. Cities can't live within their budgets now. What happens when it gets like that? I think modern monetary theory says something like you crank up the printing presses, uh, and while that may have saved the country the depression, we really don't know how it would have worked or how it would have worked out. So don't everybody be pulling for these homes to depreciate a lot so that you can buy one. Uh, Unfortunately, I do not have. I'm not an economist, so I do not have an answer. And furthermore, you can't believe any of the economists in the White House. They all supported, you know, Trump's tariff deals and everything else that was later declared illegal. And surprisingly, the guy actually paid attention to it. I'm surprised he didn't keep it up. But guys, I want to make this point real quick. And imagine if during the first impeachment, imagine if he would have gotten convicted, okay? And imagine he got kicked out of office or had to resign. He's impeached. You've taken a really big problem out of society, haven't you? I mean, you haven't taken it completely out because still has followers and all that. But at least you would have, not been responsible for giving him such a prominent forum. And what you did, don't forget, was by not convicting him, you showed that he has some degree of freedom. He don't have anything to worry about. You're not going to convict him. And it would have been the cheapest, most effective way to have gotten rid of Trump. And the Republicans just failed. They're cowards. And I think that's the story of this election cycle, is the cowardice of the Republicans in Congress. They have think about the big beautiful bill and how what 8 million people lost their health care and SNAP benefits and all this, and SNAP's food stamps. And when these congressmen, because don't forget there's 218 in the House and like 53 in the Senate. When these guys go home, like they're doing now, uh, and they're trying to sell people on what they've done so they can be reelected in November, which is what 5 months away, July, August, November. Yeah, I mean, be here and before you know it. So when these guys go back home and plead for votes and plead for money, what do they have to show? They have what they can show you as how the only thing they can show you as how things were taken away from you. And for the life of me, I cannot figure out how that's a winning message at this point in time. Uh, it just defies belief, and to think that let's see, something happens, and I don't know, then Emirates firm transfers what $500 million to Trump. I guarantee it's got to be a pure coincidence that they got the Nvidia chips after that. Pure coincidence. Donald Trump didn't have anything to do with it, right? And because and very few Americans are told the absolute truth every time. But this is lying to an art form. This is lying that has hollowed out the country. It's I think our government. I don't know if we have enough bureaucracy to support the government anymore. And Trump makes this claim about Andrew Jackson firing 10% of the people or something. And what he doesn't tell you is later on, not only did Jackson hire those guys back, but he hired more. There was another little column today fact checking Trump. And guys, I don't know about you, but I'm kind of tired dealing with. Number one, he should never have been there. Number two, now that he's there, he should have been convicted. And number three, now that he's been reelected and there's no chance, now we get to see what sort of booby traps he lays. Because the he's just incapable of decency. And if anybody wants to argue that point, please give me a call, 949-629-3820. And I said, we'll take a little look-see down memory lane and debate the issue and see how things shake out. And so, guys, it's you guys know what happens the closer it gets to 1 o'clock. The closer it gets to 1 o'clock, you can hear my voice kind of scratchy and going and all that. And let's let's try to lube it up a little. But all I did was kind of lube up my pants and shirt with coffee. So anyway, guys, what we're gonna do is we're gonna dump some water on this and try to get the stain out, and then we're gonna take the rest of the afternoon off, and we're gonna just kind of enjoy the day, take a walk, get some fresh air, and guys, don't stress about this any more than you have to. We will take care of this. We will vote, and we'll vote in numbers that we'll vote in numbers that they won't believe, and we'll just wipe them out. So, guys, on that cheerful thought, which is end Republican majorities, no more Republican majorities, not for another 50 years. No more Republican majorities, no more Republican presidents, no more lies, no more cheating, no more stealing. I mean, does anybody remember what Trump would call the Biden crime family? I mean, how do you how do you answer that these days other than just sheer laughter? And guys, since I have the occasion to end this on a laughing note, I'm going to do so. I'm going to wish everyone a super fourth. Have an adult beverage or two for me. Enjoy your family. Enjoy your cookout. And just take some time and unwind this weekend. And this is Abby Kaufman, your somewhat savvy or semi savvy, politically minded host. And about this time, yeah, what is it we always say? Don't we usually say something